Welcome to today's webinar presented by Supercoder.com. Supercoder.com is an online coding solution offering Part A and B coding reference tools, resources, and not more than 30 specialty coding and compliance newsletters from the Coding Institute in one site. I hope you enjoy this short session.
Which is all nerve fibers outside of the central nervous system and includes conditions of the cranial nerves and disorders of the nerve roots, the plexus, and the myoneural disorders. There is the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary body functions, such as breathing and respiration issues that relate to digestion, etc. And a lot of those codes come into account when we're looking at home health diagnosis as well. And the autonomic nervous system is made up of both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. So the nervous system's got lots of room for us to have codes that would impact our home health population, and that's partly why we have those 4 categories of codes, which we will get into. So conditions of the nervous system can earn points in one of actually 9 categories of case mix diagnoses, because sometimes the way CMS has listed those diagnoses, they put them in different categories of case mix diagnosis. Even though we have 4 that are neurological, they may also cover in other categories. This group of diagnosis has the largest number of variables involving other OASIS items to further increase the case mix points that can be earned by these conditions. And that's the situation of the synergistic relationships between a diagnosis and perhaps another OASIS clinical or an OASIS functional item. So we're going to be looking at some of those interactions because they are so key related to the Neuro 1 codes in particular. So as we move on, and we're moving to slide 4, we'll talk about the Neuro case mix categories. As I said, there are 4 categories of neuro case mix diagnoses. There are 13 of the 30 case mix variables in Table 4, otherwise known as Table 2A, the case mix adjustment variables and scores for home health PPS. So there are 30 different lines that then give us the points under early and late episodes, and also depending on the number of therapy visits. And of those lines, 13 of them actually involve the nervous system diseases and conditions. Not always Neuro 1, but a number of them. You can see at the lower half of slide 4 the 4 categories of the neuro case mix diagnoses. In Neuro 1, the one we'll be talking about today primarily, are brain disorders and paralysis, and there are 73 listings of diagnosis that are case mix. In Neuro 2, which is the peripheral neurological disorders, there are 61 listings, and that's going to cross over into the peripheral nervous system, but also some of the autonomic nervous system that are affected by those. In Neuro 3, which is the stroke category, there are the 11 listings. And what we see there primarily are the late effects of CVA, certainly a rather common diagnosis in the home health setting for many years following the strokes. That's mainly what's in that one. And Neuro 4 as a category is multiple sclerosis and other demyelinating disorders. There are only 8 listings, but they are particular conditions that do impact long-term care and generally tend to be degenerative care over time. So there are quite some differences between Neuro 1, 2, 3, and 4 categories. We're going to really focus most of our time on Neuro 1 today. And when you consider the seriousness and often long-standing effects of neurological conditions that affect the brain and spinal cord, it is really not surprising that the Neuro 1 codes have become the largest list of case mix diagnosis in the neuro categories. Moving on to slide 5, I've given you just a little capsule piece of Table 4, or Table 2A, depending on which way you like to reference it, of the case mix adjustment variables and scores. And this is the points that you earn in 2012. As far as we know, these points will be the same in 2013. Lines, and you see the column that is covered row or line, if you will.
Supercoder is the fastest growing online reference tool with more than 25,000 subscribers. Call 866-228-9252 to get a free product demo or sign up at supercoder.com for a 7-day free trial.